Hey, Stephen.
How you doing?
All right. So look, I'm about to admit the rest of these people and then I'll make you host, all right?
All right.
Hold on. And these are just note takers. I'll go ahead. Hey, Mike, how's everything going?
Motion detected at the Susan's front door.
Hey, Mike, can you hear me? Michael Simpson. Calling Michael Simpson.
Good evening.
How, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Amen.
Great day to be alive.
That's right. Every day is a great day to be alive, right? Um, Michael, where are you physically located at? Mike, can you hear me? Because you look frozen. Oh, there we go. Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Where are you physically located at?
I'm located in Compton.
Okay. All right. Um, so you're local. Um, and we'll get started here at in a couple of minutes. Um, and I probably asked this before, but so if I ask you some questions that I've already asked you, please forgive me. Um, but do you have any experience owning investment real estate?
No, I was in a rent years ago. That was about it.
Okay. Um, and so what interests you about out of state real estate investing?
Well, the returns are much better. The getting in the market is much easier, and it seems like it's better to go out of state than in state at this particular moment. It's a lot of capital to get started here on that.
Oh yeah, you're 100% correct. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So my last email question to you: what's the difference between the club and just being, as a retail investor versus a club? Did
yeah.
you get that email from me?
Um, I don't remember that specific question, but I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna answer it here. Um, and so, being a retail investor means that you either buy all or part of a turnkey rental property, right? Um, you're going to make anywhere from 8.5 to 9% cash on cash return, and that's it. That's where it stops. When
Okay.
when you're a member of the investment club, um, we present you with investment opportunities. So, one of the investment opportunities will be to um, invest $50,000, um, create the turnkey rental property, and earn at least 15% cash on cash return if you choose to keep it. Um, if you choose to sell it or sell the equity in it, we're shooting to get you a 30% return on the flip. Um, and so that's one of the investment opportunities. Um, but we also have a residual referral program. And so the residual referral program works like this. So say that Stefan referred you to join the club. You join the club and then you become a traditional investor. You invest $50,000 and on your first property, You make a 30% return, and so you make $15,000. Well, when you make $15,000, Stefan makes an amount equal to 10% of what you make. So you make 15,000, he makes 1,500 because he referred you. And he'll always be your referrer for life, and he'll always get an amount equal to 10% of the profit that you get. Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
That's how we grow the club, because that's a huge incentive. But then it gets better because he referred you as a traditional investor, right? On that flip, you make 15,000, we make $10,000. Well, we're going to give him a third of what we make. So in addition to the the $1,500 that he made, he gets another $3,333. So he makes almost $5,000 because he referred you and you made money. And because you made money, right? You turned your 50,000 into 65,000. Now we always encourage you, take that $50,000 and do it again. And when you do it again and you make another 15,000, guess what? He's going to wind up making another 1,500 plus $3,033.
And so are the houses you build in Detroit, will they be net positive where we can get income for selling electricity back to the grid? Will that opportunity come up?
Oh man! So the investment opportunities that will ultimately present to the investment club are limitless, because we are connected to several holding companies that invest in that. Well, I'll just talk about my holding company, and my holding company's slogan is, "We strategically invest in everything." Okay. And we bring those investments through the investment club to the members to raise money. It's called cooperative group economics. So as a Black nationalist, that's what I practice. Within my community, I practice cooperative group economics because there's enough meat on the bone for everybody to eat. And we're not trying to maximize our profit. We're trying to maximize the benefit to the entire community. Right? Now, when we interact with people outside of our community, we straight capitalists, right? We're trying to make as much money off of them as possible because we can bring that back into the community and use it as a benefit to the entire community. We're about community building.
I see. So what is the minimum for the investor club versus the minimum for the retail investor?
Sure. So the minimum to join the investment club is $120 $120 contribution to your contribution account. So there's no fee to join, there's no fee to remain a member. When you join, we create a contribution and a distribution account for every member. The contribution account is where you put in money that you want to invest. That money is 100% yours. You can take it back out whenever you want, right? Because you haven't committed to anything. But as we present investment opportunities, if you say, hey, I want to invest in that, then through what's called a subscription agreement, you are basically subscribing to be involved in an investment. And so now the money that you've pledged in your contribution account becomes frozen. Once the raising for that investment opportunity is done, then your money is actually transferred to a new entity. It's called a special purpose vehicle, SPV, which is used to invest in that specific opportunity, right? Now, I'll use the example of if you're a traditional investor and you're investing $50,000. And so we present this opportunity. Hey, we got this house, we got this, and just in general, we have this opportunity to be a traditional investor. You say, okay, here's $50,000. So you're in the investment club, the $50,000 then would go into your contribution account. When we're ready to pull the trigger on buying the house, that $50,000 now goes into a new entity. And it just so happens that you control this new entity, right? And then here's the other beautiful thing. When the profits come back, it goes into the entity first, right? So you got your $50,000 you get back plus 15. The $50,000 goes back into your contribution account. Once it's in your contribution account, you can leave it there or you can take it out. The $15,000 goes into your distribution account. It is then accounted for as a capital gain. If it's under a year, it's a short-term capital gain. If it's over a year, it's a long-term capital gain. Money that comes into your distribution account, you can either move it over to your contribution account or you can withdraw it. If you leave it there, I think after 60 days, it automatically moves over to your contribution account. So the most important thing is to remember, as a member of an investment club, you have full control over how much money do you put into your contribution account, which investments do you choose to invest in.
And some of the investment might not be in housing in the investment club.
Oh yeah, no, we've got a whole line of other types of investments. We just haven't rolled them out yet.
Okay.
We just haven't rolled them out yet. And some of them,
I see.
yeah, again, we strategically invest in everything.
But what about people aren't familiar with cooperative economics? I've heard of it before, but I've never been in that realm of field and trying to make money.
Okay.
The traditional way we give money, we get returns. It's not shared and community build. I like the philosophy, but I'm just saying it is new, and I'm a little frightened because I know when money comes out, folks get to acting and stuff. So what's gonna keep us from being insane and not somebody stealing the money?
All right.
What are we gonna have in place for that?
Yeah.
I know that's
So
a tough question, but I have to ask that.
no, it's not tough at all. You know what multi-level marketing is?
Yes, I've heard about multi-level marketing. Yes.
The grandfather of multi-level marketing is Amway, right? And you have multi-level marketing where you usually have to pay a fee to join, and then you have to buy so much products per month in order to remain an active member. And then you're encouraged to recruit other people and to have a downline. And so your network is so large, right? And in multi-level marketing networks, you make your money off of growing your network, which means you make money off of people joining. Well, what happens to the last people who join? Right? So the last people who join get screwed, okay? Because they're not making any money if they're not bringing anybody else in. So that's how multi-level marketing networks work. They make their money and people make their money off of people joining and paying fees. Well, we're an investment club. There are no fees, and you don't have to recruit anybody if you don't want to. But you do make money when the people that you refer make money. So what we do is we split up the profit. It's profit share. So we'll go back to the $50,000 investment and flipping the house and making a profit of $25,000, right? And then when we make that profit of 25,000, if you invested 50,000, you have what's called the preferred rate of 10%, which means you get all the profit up to 10% of your investment. So out of 25,000, you get the first 5,000 because you invested 50,000. That leaves 20,000. Then we split that in half. So my company gets 10, you get another 10, 10 plus 5 equals 15, right? With, but be there's actually more profit than the 25,000. There's actually about 27,800 because that extra profit is considered a cost, and that's why it's not included in the profit that's distributed. It's a cost because that is used to pay the referral fees, and the referral fees are based on 10%. And but here's the thing: there's no limit to how wide or how deep your network is. So, for example, if I referred Eric and Eric referred Stefan and Stefan referred Sally and Sally referred you, you made 15,000. Sally makes 15. Now I'm just going back in random order because I can't remember. Um, Stefan makes 150. Eric makes $15. I make $1.50. And mathematically, there's no limit because we take out enough of that of the original profit to be able to spread that off to everybody who's involved in the referral. And so that's the huge incentive and what makes this different than multi-level marketing. So some people ask, well, is this a pyramid scheme? Well, the way pyramid schemes work is to join a network, you have to pay a fee. Part of that fee then goes to the person who referred you in that whole network. Part of that, the rest of that fee goes to the original company. And so it gets stacked up like that. But then the last people in make zero money. And then the pyramid collapses because they don't make money if they don't refer anybody. Well, we're not a pyramid scheme because the money that each member makes through the referral system is purely based on profit. It's profit sharing, right? It's, again, cooperative group economics. There's enough meat on the bone for everybody to eat. And so we maximize the benefits to the community. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Long as it's profitable. So what if we have an investment that goes south and it's not profitable? Then what do we do?
Yeah. So, because we cannot guarantee, profits of any investment. I can tell you that all of my companies have two rules. First rule is don't lose money. We're not losing our money, and we definitely ain't losing the client's money. Rule number two is don't go to jail. We're not going to do anything in the gray area where other nationalities may get away with, but we're Black and we recognize that, and so we don't play in the gray area. Now, understanding that rule number one is don't lose money, we look at everything first and foremost from a risk management perspective. And we look at it from the worst case. Hey, what's the worst that could happen in this scenario? And when we build our models, we overestimate expenses, we underestimate sales and revenue. And we only build models that are cash flow positive within the first 12 months. And we have a risk management tool specifically for real estate, right? But yes, it is possible that an investment goes south and we lose money. If we lose money, then that means whoever invested loses their capital, and my company doesn't make any money because we make our money on the back end. Okay. And we're not in the business of working for free, right? Because that means all the work that we did in putting the deal together, marketing it, and then managing the deal, there's costs associated with that. And again, we make the majority of our money on the back end. And so if the deal goes south and we lose our money, everybody loses. The client loses and we lose. And I mean, I'm just honest, we don't build models to lose. There's always risk and stuff, but we manage and shift that risk because no risk, no reward. But if a deal loses money, the client loses money, and then we lose money also on the back end. Right? There are no guarantees, even because so for example, we're going to be creating a couple of funds, right? And some of these funds are going to be specifically to create mortgage notes and to provide mortgages to the properties that are within our system, right? So we're going to be lending money to properties that we manage and based on the deals that we already put together, right? So we're managing the deals on behalf of the investor, right? And so when it comes to loaning money to against that property, and we're managing it, the risk goes down even lower, right?
Yeah, that's right. So what's a
And
mortgage note? What's a mortgage note?
yeah, so
So
a
everybody
mortgage,
understand.
yeah, so a mortgage note is when when a lender gives the owner money and the owner promises to pay that money back with interest, and that promise is securitized with a mortgage that places a lien against the property. So let me give you an example.
Oh,
So if you got a one of these turnkey rental properties, right? It's generating $7,500 a year net operating income, and so we say, oh man, on a 10% cap rate, we value that property at $75,000, and you say, well, can I get a loan for 2/3 of the value? It's called loan to value. And so if we value the property at 75,000 because it's producing income, we'll say, sure, we'll loan you $50,000. Now you got $50,000. What do? You go buy another house and you just keep repeating that, right? And in the meantime, now you're generating rent and you have financing costs. So each month you've got to pay your mortgage note, right? So when you look at your costs, you've got your property management costs, you've got your property tax costs, you got your property insurance costs, and now you've got your financing costs. And again, if the total net operating income is $7,500, the financing cost might be $5,000 a year. So now you're bringing home $2,500, but you took all the equity out, so you got your $50,000 back. So you basically have almost a house for free because it's generating positive cash flow, and you still have $25,000 worth of equity in there, but you got your initial $50,000 out. And so that's the type of leverage that we're going to be providing our clients, where with just the initial $50,000, you can just keep buying homes over and over and over again. Do you understand that concept?
yes.
So now, what happens if um the house burns down? Oh, it burns down, it's not producing any income, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's what insurance is for, right? That's a risk. And we shift that risk to the insurance company. Okay. Um, and so the insurance company would pay for the lost income. The insurance company would pay to rebuild the property. Okay. Um, what happens if there's um, what happens if there's a small nuclear bomb goes off in Detroit, and now the house is uninhabitable, right? And insurance says, oh, we don't cover that. That's one of those exemptions, like force majeure. I forget, there's a French term for it, right? And so it's one of those unforeseen risks that there's no way to manage for that, right? So what happens? Well, you miss paying your mortgage, and after 3 payments, you default. So under regular mortgages, what happens is the mortgage company, because it has a lien against the property, now forecloses on the property. It's a legal process of saying, hey, court, they didn't pay. We've got a lien against the property, so now we want the property. Okay. So now we own the property. According to what state you're in, though, right? You owe us, let's say, $45,000 because you've been paying on it. In certain states, when we take the property and if we sell the property, we make more than 45,000, we can only keep what's owed to us and our costs of foreclosure, right? And so let's say attorney's costs and legal fees and government fees was $5,000. So we're in for $50,000. Well, if we sell the property for 60, we keep 50, we give you 10. If we sell the property for less than $50,000, you lost all your equity and we've lost part of the value of the property compared to our mortgage. So we're out of money also, right? So that's how mortgages work. Those are great questions. What's up, Eric?
Thank you.
Eric, can you?
How you doing, Michael?
Oh man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. We're right now, we're just each session, each webinar is different based on the audience and their experience. And so Michael has been asking us questions about how the investment club works. He's been also asking us some real estate questions. And I actually love this format because it allows me to give you guys the information that you're seeking, right? So, and
I just
Eric,
had one more question, Mike, about the real estate. So when we buy the houses, we're gonna rent it out to Section 8, or we're gonna try to flip it immediately? And why are we looking at Section 8 folks rather than some regular folks? Because Section 8 is sometimes the residents can be very difficult.
yeah. So here's how the process works, right? Invest $50,000. In about 3 months, we're going to produce that turnkey rental property that's going to rent for around $1,000, and it's going to generate a net operating income of $7,500 a year. Now, when we finish the rehab, you can try to sell it. It's not going to sell for that much. Because we're in the hoods of Detroit. That property will if you were trying to sell it like on the MLS to someone who wants to own it and live in it, you can probably sell it for about $55,000-$60,000. Okay. Now, because that's not our strategy. And we don't build the houses to sell them to people who want to own them and live in them. We specifically build turnkey rental properties. And so we get with the property management company who's been doing this since 2006, manages more than 300 properties for out-of-state investors. This is their focus, right? Affordable housing is their focus. They know how to rehab a property so that it can pass the Section 8 inspection on the first time. And they know how to screen applicants so that there's a very low risk of the applicant not paying, the applicant tearing up your house, right? They got a very stringent process for that. And our preference is Section 8. We cannot legally say, and you definitely can't put it in writing, Section 8 only, right? That's against the law. But our preference is Section 8, and let me tell you why. I'm gonna first start with COVID. So COVID was the first time that I know in US history, where as a landlord, you can have a tenant who's not paying you, and you cannot legally kick them out of your house. Okay. That happened throughout the entire United States. Small landlords, some of them got wiped out. Why? Because they had mortgages that they had to pay. They don't have no rent coming in. They may have reserves, but they definitely don't have enough reserves to to pay for years of non-payment, right? And so a lot of landlords lost their property because they didn't manage risk for that. But the Section 8 landlords, they didn't miss a payment. They continued to get paid and paid and paid. So that's the first thing, right? COVID presented a whole new risk scenario that no one had prepared for. The second is we, and specifically the property management company, they've developed strategies when it comes to Section 8. So what we do is we go into C-class neighborhoods. We build B-class properties in order to attract and retain A-class Section 8 tenants. And let me give you a very specific example with the first house we did, which is the McKay property. The McKay property is 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. Okay. We wanted to rent it for $1,000. When we screened for applicants, we got about 25 applicants, but none of them qualified. And so 2 weeks later, we lowered the rent to $950. We got about 30 applicants, none of them qualified. And so we were going to lower it to $900. And the property management company said, hey, we got a Section 8 applicant here. They qualify and meet all of our requirements, but the rent is $866. So it's going to be less than the 900, right? But they have a voucher for a 1-bedroom unit. And so the way Section 8 works is you get a voucher based on your household size that says how many bedrooms that you can that this voucher is good for. Okay. And then the voucher amount is tied to the number of bedrooms. So $866 for a 1-bedroom. And the property management company convinced us, because it's a great strategy, hey, you need to rent to this Section 8 applicant because now they're going to get 2 bedrooms instead of 1. Now they're going to value staying in your property when it comes time to renew. The likelihood of them causing any type of damage is significantly less because you gave them an incentive, an extra bedroom. Okay. So that was the first thing. The second thing is Section 8 was paying 100%. So when you apply for Section 8, they do an income review of your family and everything like that. And then they will tell you what percentage of the rent are they going to pay. Are they going to pay 100%, 90%, or half? If they pay less than 100%, the other portion, the tenant is responsible for, and you got to get that from them every month, which can be like pulling teeth, right? So on this $866 rent, if the tenant was responsible for $50 a month and Section 8 paid the rent, we may have to hunt this person down for $50. And who wants to do that? So when you have a tenant that has 100%, oh man, it's gravy. And so we entered into the contract with the Detroit Housing Commission in November of last year, and we have not heard a peep out of this tenant. Yet on the 1st of the month, that payment goes to the property management company. They reconcile their books, and on the 10th of the month, they send us a statement, and on the 11th of the month, there's a direct deposit that goes into the McKay Properties business account. So We prefer Section 8 tenants.
That sounds great. Where we have a change in administration and the Republican guy gets in and wants to do away and control Section 8, with the politics change and Section 8 becomes no longer a viable program, then what do we do?
Well, we then look at what our options are at that time if something drastic like that were to happen. And so, for example, prior to COVID, this property management company would be like, look, do a 1-year lease. If it's a cash paying tenant, do a 1-year lease. If it's a Section 8 tenant, right? COVID came in and you had the moratorium where tenants didn't have to pay. You got a court now that is more tenant friendly. And so they don't recommend 1-year leases anymore. Everything is month to month if you're a cash paying tenant. Because if you don't pay, now when we take you to court to get you evicted, it's a much shorter process. Versus if you got a year lease and now you're only 3 months into the lease and you stop paying, it might take us 3 to 4 months to get you out. If you month to month, it's going to take weeks to get you out. Okay. And so that was a change that they did because of COVID. And so the one good thing about this property management company is they change according to the environment. We all try to be proactive and see things coming versus being reactive. And it's, again, it's all about risk management. And the odds, even if the Republicans do get in, the odds of them eliminating 100% the Section 8 program is probably low. There are more white people on Section 8 than there are Black people. It's just that that there's a higher percentage of Black folk on Section 8 compared to our population. That's all. But yeah, there's more white folks on Section 8 than there are Black folk. Good questions though. Any other questions, Mike? Oh, I know Eric looked like he had to drop off.
Yeah, he said he had to go to another meeting.
Yeah. But Mike, you have you attended these webinars? You've attended one of these webinars before, right?
This is my third one.
Okay, good. So you've had great questions. What else is on your mind? Because we're going to do this webinar around Mike Simpson's questions.
Will we someday be our own property management company, or is that a white company, or are they Black?
So it's a Black family-owned company. The patriarch is Clarence Archibald II. And so his wife is a realtor. So she handles, because they're a full service real estate company. His wife handles buying and selling properties. His daughter handles property management. And one of his sons handles rehabs and repairs. So they've been doing this since 2006. And like I said, they have over 300 properties under management. So our ultimate goal as a company is to do 150 houses using this method, which is buy a distressed property, rehab it, put a tenant in it, turn into a turnkey, preferably Section 8 property, right? After we do 150 of these, though, then the plan is to scale up at a significant rate and to become a development company, in which we will have a proposal to the Detroit Land Bank, which owns 70,000 vacant lots and boarded up homes, as well as the Detroit City Council. We're going to come in with a proposal to build 1,000 housing units per quarter. So that's 333 doors. And I say doors because not only will we be doing single family and duplexes and triplexes and quads, but now we get into multifamily, which is 5 units or more. And the way that we will build this many doors over such a short time is that we will be using modular built homes. Those are homes that are built in the factory. When they're built in the factory, it takes less time. The build time from order to finish is usually 4 weeks, compared to a full rehab job. It take 2 to 3 months in Detroit. So shorter time, higher quality. Every house that comes out of there has quality inspection. And just like you build a car on an assembly line and there's quality checks along, it's the same thing with the house. As it moves along its assembly line. So it's higher quality.
Yeah, I understand that, but are these prefab factories the union, or is it going to be like, scab layer building these modular homes where we're just supporting another economy that doesn't really support us? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see it's like in California where there's always other people working except us in the construction industry.
So I can tell you that our holding company's philosophy is to own the entire supply chain. So at the rate that we'll be building houses of 1,000 homes per quarter, 4,000 homes a month. There's a company called Sky Homes. SKY is their ticker symbol. They're a public company. You can look them up. They are the largest home manufacturer. They're the largest home builder in the United States. Okay. They have about, last time I saw, they had like 13, 14 factories spread throughout the United States. Closest one to Detroit is in Indiana. But each factory can build 150 single-story homes a week, 30 homes a day, and they work Monday through Friday, right? And so that's over 7,000 homes per factory. So when we get up to the rate where we're doing 4,000 homes per year, now we are either buying a franchise of a factory, partnering in a factory, or building our own factory, right? But at that point, now we're in the factory business, and so then we employ people in the whole 9 yards. But again, our ultimate goal is to own the supply chain. So now we start looking at who supplies the factory. What are the companies supplying the materials to the factory? How do we ultimately get into that business and own that? And then the raw materials. How do we get into that business, right? Because as you own the whole supply chain, you make it more efficient. You drive down unit costs, and you can make a higher quality product. But that's the ultimate thing. And Detroit is our template. So, like any other business where you have a great product, you got a great system of producing the product and it's profitable, then we will simultaneously go into multiple markets. And so we've already identified the next 40 markets. In year 2, we plan to go into the first 20. And in each market, we go through this process that we've developed in Detroit. And in year 3, we'll go into another 40. These markets are mainly in the Midwest and in parts of the South.
Will you be coming to Compton?
No.
A lot of lots.
So we, again, Midwest and the South. And the reason being is it's called the rent to price ratio. It's the monthly rent compared to the price of the home.
Yes, I remember that from the last lecture. Yeah.
Exactly, right? And
Right.
again, that's part of risk management. This model doesn't work on either of the coasts. It ain't gonna work in Miami, it ain't gonna work in New York, it ain't gonna work in LA, it ain't gonna work in San Francisco or Seattle. It just doesn't. And so understanding that, we just don't go into those markets. Detroit is by far the best market, but there are other markets that also fit this. And so we'll be going into those markets. And because the ultimate goal is to build Black owned and controlled private gated master plan communities. Okay. So when we start building modular homes, these are smart homes, because these smart homes are going to be part of the smart community that we build. When we start,
Do we really want to do that? Have Black communities? Because history has shown that that's that can cause problems in the United States when we have Black successful communities. If we know our history,
yes,
you understand what I'm saying, and that'd be like separate. And I
hey,
thought we was trying to integrate. Now you said separate.
so I'll ask you, how has integration worked for Black folks?
It hasn't done what it says it's supposed to be, but it
Okay,
might be better than when we segregate ourselves. No, we educate ourselves better, but we had worse
okay.
facilities.
So have you heard of Chinatown?
What town?
Chinatown.
No, but I heard of the Florida town that got burnt
No,
down, and
no. So
Tulsa
every
in North
major city,
Carolina. That's what I'm saying. We had our own neighborhoods, and it was a lot of jealousy. I said, do we want to go back to that model? We have to be careful.
so I'm gonna explain a couple things. Every major city has a Chinatown area.
Yeah, that's true.
Every major city has a Koreatown.
That's true.
Every city has where there are a strong
Middle Eastern.
concentration of Jewish people, they have their
Yeah,
own communities, right?
right.
Okay. We're the only culture that doesn't do that. We are the only culture that will allow other cultures to come in and set up shop in our neighborhoods, take our money, and then they take those profits back to their neighborhoods. We're the only culture that does that. Try opening up a barber shop in Chinatown. Do you think that you're going to get Chinese people to come to your barber shop?
No.
Try setting up a soul food restaurant. Try setting up a beauty care. Try setting up anything Black up in Chinatown. They are not going to patronize you. Why? Because they have been taught that they need to patronize their own. Okay. So you are correct. The United States have a history of burning down and destroying successful Black communities. Since we know that, as we build these communities, we have to be able to defend these communities. Okay. And so there are strategies and tactics of how to go about doing that. But the model is not unique. Rich white folks build private gated communities all the time. All the time. Right? It's just that there aren't many Black gated master plan communities. And the key word is master plan. So a master plan community is a community that not only has residential, it's got commercial, it may have some industrial, it's got schools, it's got health, it's got emergency response, right? It's self-contained. And so we as Black folks, at least with my company, our goal is to help the Black community become self-sufficient, self-reliant, and self-determinant. Now, our ultimate goal is to help people and resources go to Africa, okay? Because we think that there's way more opportunity and safety in Africa than here in the United States. But everybody ain't gonna want to go to Africa. We can respect that. And so for those who stay, they will need help surviving America while being Black. And so that's where we create these Black owned and controlled private gated master plan communities. That's the ultimate goal. More questions, Mike? We got 10 minutes. You still there, Mike? All right, we're gonna jump to Sally. So, Mike, and for people who watch this recording, Sally is a part.
I'm still here. Yeah, I have to leave in about 5 minutes, but this has been a great discussion. Gives me more illumination of what you're trying to do, and I would like to have the application for the club and one for the retail. Can you do two, or just
Oh,
one?
no. So you again, you can be an investment club member, and you can choose to be a retail client also. Yeah, you can do both.
Okay. And I hope next meeting you talk about the blockchain, that opportunity too.
Oh, we
When we
will.
go to blockchain and
Okay. Yeah, we will definitely
but
get
this has
into.
been sensational. I didn't want to take up all you guys' time. I know other participants might have questions.
Hey, Mike, it's just you. You are the participant. This is your meeting. The rest of us, the other people are part of are part of the BNIC. So Sally is the CFO of the BNIC Network. She's also the very first investor in Temple Rose. Oh, he left. So Sally, again, in addition to being the CFO of the BNIC Network, she is also an investor in the holding company, Temple Rose Holding. She was actually the number one first investor. Um, so, Sally, do you want to say anything for those who watch the recording?
Well, even just sitting and listening to it all over again, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it's just a great opportunity because um, Michael's vision is more like what my vision has been, as far as wanting to do something in our community. And I think that's what, made me just say, wow, yeah, this is what I need to do. Um, just really, jump in there and see what it is that I can do to help make this happen. And it's a great opportunity as well. And I'm one um, who who also has a vision for our anchor in Africa, right? That's our
Yep.
homeland. And but this is where I was born. My ancestors were brought here, but I do believe that we if we don't make it back home, we need to at least open the way for others who want to go, or at least re-anchor ourselves back. Because I'm one that, I'm right now, I'm purchasing a house over in Africa as well. And I have some investments here in this country. I'm African first, then I'm American. So, just like everybody else, who have not forgotten where they come from, we all need to at least, that should be our Mecca, and we should go home at least once in a generation at least, just to connect. And because if you don't reconnect to your homeland, and others, like they have been doing and like they have done in our history, try to take it. All
Yep.
right, so, and just like in our communities, like your concern was, every time we build a community, they feel like they need to come and take it. Well, we have to get to a point to where, because we're first of mankind, we need to teach them that that's not very nice, and then no, they cannot take it. They'll do it as long as you let them,
That's
right?
right.
So it comes down to that. But I really think it's a great opportunity to work for something that is so much needed in our community. So thank you. Just thank the divine creator, creatress for giving Michael the vision as well as
Amen.
the mind, to come up with all of this and then start moving and trying to at least start it. And then hopefully we can find others with the same like minds, to work together to make this a reality. See?
And so because I I started on this journey in 2020 after George Floyd's public execution.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been a long road. There's been some frustrations. Sally and I were involved in the first effort in the all of 2021, because we started in January of 2021, meeting every Sunday with people in California and people in Detroit. But at that time, I was like, look, we're just going to build modular homes on vacant lots, and let's just set that up, right? And it was too big for some of the people, especially those in Detroit, to wrap their
Mhm.
heads around. And they also, their eyes lit up because they saw California money, right? And so if you're not careful, you're gonna get hustled in Detroit. And so at the end of that year, I was a little frustrated, but I just decided, hey, I got to go a different direction. So that's when I formed the BNIC Network LLC, a wholly owned subsidiary of Temple Rose Holding Company. And then had some personal challenges where, we had a pipe break in our house. We was out of our house for 8 months. And then we moved back in 3 weeks later, another pipe bust. And so 2022 was challenging, but that's when I started this effort. That's when I met our first client, entered into the agreement with her in October of 2022. And it took us 5 months to find the right property. Again, and we use a risk management tool and processes. And so we had put in offers on 2 other properties, but as we were doing our due diligence and peeling that back the onion, the deals were not weren't good. And so we dropped out, got the earnest money deposit back, moved on. And so, we finally purchased the house for the client at the end of March in 2023. November 2023, we entered into the contract with the Detroit Housing Commission, got the Section 8 tenant. It's been running smooth, and now we are selling 90% of the equity of the company that owns the property. And we're doing it in a way to where they will be limited partners. The original client will own 10% of the property, but she'll still be in total control. But this way she gets to raise $75,000. It's almost like selling it for $75,000, but she still keeps it, future appreciation, and she still gets some cash flow from it. And without having debt on the property. And so she'll take her 75,000. We'll do our profit split that I've been talking about. So she'll end up with 65,000, and she'll take another 50,000 and go to the next house. And that capital raise goes through September the 30th. It's through a crowdfunding platform. And we're also doing a private a private placement offering also. Between the two, we have raised $32,500 so far. So almost halfway to our goal of 75,000. And with that, we are at the of our hour. I do want to thank the 2 participants that dropped in. I really want to thank Michael Simpson for his questions, because if he had those questions, other people had those questions.
Mhm.
And so, those of you who watch this recording, I hope that you get some good information from it. And you can always come to our website, the BNICRE. Again, it's the THE BNICRE.com. And with that, everybody have a blessed night. Stephanie, you can stop the recording. I guess I can.